we're working our way up in the front area, we can start to finally install all these parts that have been hanging out in the office area. First and foremost, we can go ahead and install our scatter shield. You guys have heard me talk about these before. If you're not familiar with them or what they're for, a scatter shield is required by the NHRA after you run a certain speed. I believe it's 1149 in the quarter mile, or faster than 135 miles an hour. But nonetheless, what this does is it sits over the transmission and actually protects the driver and the track and any bystanders from any damage or injury if for some reason the clutch assembly should let go, which can happen at the rate of speed that these cars are racing. So this is one of the first products, actually this is the first product that I ever made that started the business, and we sell quite a few of them every year. So if this is something that your vehicle needs because you've gone to a track and the tech inspector told you that you couldn't run as fast as you're capable of because you were missing this piece of safety equipment, then we've got a solution for you. Just give us a call, send us an email, message us on Facebook, whatever communication channel works for you, and we can work with you on that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one installed right now. It's a fairly simple process, but being that the space constraints are there, I mean, it's a really tight area to get it in. There's definitely some shouting that can happen even after doing this a million times myself. The nature of its design and the way that it bolts to the transmission to hold the trans to the engine, that's the way that it's mounted, and for that reason alone it can get a little tight and a little frustrating, but it fits very nicely once it's installed, and that's what we're going to work on right now. All right, now that we've got the scatter shield in, I can go ahead and start assembling the front suspension, put in the axles, and then also the front lower subframe. If you're gonna be doing a scatter shield and you happen to have all this stuff out and you have the option to do this, I highly recommend that you get the scatter shield on before you start reassembling the subframe and all that. The reason being is that if you come up in here, you can see how accessible everything is. You're going to need to put a nut right on the bottom of the shield that's on this back side. Let's see if I can balance this all, but right up in here is where the scatter shield is, and you can see right on the end of my finger right here is where the nut is. So with the scatter shield, as you can see, I'm running my finger along the top of it here. That basically covers access to that bolt. So I'm not saying that you can't install it without having all this apart, because it's been done. I've done it myself, but much easier having that access right there. So now that that's in, I'm going to go ahead and put the front setup together now as well.
Don't be afraid, won't let you fall, girl. Don't be afraid, won't let you fall, girl.
So at this point, I've already gotten everything installed on the suspension. I went ahead and did the install on the front suspension as well, along with the axles. I didn't really cover too much of that just because it's a simple process that you guys already saw on the rear end. But that's all the time we have for today's episode. Be sure to check in with us next time as we finish up Stavros' EVO Transformation. Everything is pretty well buttoned up except for the turbo kit, so all the sexy items are about to get installed next, and then it's startup time. So be sure to check it out. If you haven't already, hit like on this video and subscribe to the channel with notifications on if you want to be aware of when new videos are coming out. You never know what I'm going to be building in the shop next. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time.